It's a coming to age story where everyone in the world still hates England, or hates England, or doesn't like England. Is England being punished here? 11, 7, boots on the ground again. It's nice to see that even in the zombie apocalypse, the English food choices, as far as cuisine, still pretty much looks the same as what they have right now. Teletubbies have a lasting impression on one's mind. If you don't take anything else away from this film, you should take that away. All right. Sometimes all the comedic elements don't land in a review. Sometimes they don't always land in a movie either. Got my caterpillar. Here we go. 28 years later, from Alex Garland and Danny Boyle, the Threequel. The Threequel film in this trilogy, maybe? Not exactly sure. Summarize notes, I really enjoyed it. I think a lot of people are going to find it divisive and odd. That's not why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I feel like this movie is capsulated and tells a come-in-the-age story, wonderfully woven together by Alfie Williams' acting between his parents and all of the ancillary characters. But more than that, it sets the tendrils up of something bigger. But if, say, something happens and none of those films ever get made, this film could still stand on its own to me. So yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson is in the trailer to this film, and he is in this movie. A lot of people are acting like he's kind of cut from this film. I think he's in the film enough to where he needs to be. Enough to where you realize pretty quickly he's not the main character. This boy Spike is, played wonderfully. I kept having all of these moments in this film where I'm like, is this like the Rage Zombie God of War live action movie that should have been a game? Because there's so many things that are like God of War in this movie. The kid looks like Atreus. I mean, a lot. They could be brothers. The mocap actor, or how they skin the mocap actor in the game versus what this kid looks like. I swear they look like long lost siblings, or at least cousins. That he's wearing the bow and arrow and shooting things and being taught to it by a father figure. It's not a giant spoiler. The opening of the film is a lot about a coming to age rite of passage, and why people would go from this secluded island that's protected from the evolution of almost 3 decades later rage zombies, and why they still got to go there for resources, but more than that for, I guess, this culture they're developing. Second thing, there's a lot of severed heads, and those severed heads get carried around. They don't talk like they do in God of War, but they are there. There is dealing with the mystery of your parents and why they have done certain things, and you uncovering that, and being led by a father figure and having some issues with a mother figure. Again, a lot of similarities, and I love those games, and I really felt that essence of the lore building in this. I don't know if that was an inspiration, like Alex Garland or Danny Boyle. No, hey, did you play that new God of the War game? Go back in 2018. Yeah. Dude, that'd be kind of a cool premise for the next 28 years, whatever, 28 franchise thing we do. It would be. We could almost make it a trilogy or something. Yeah. We'll make the kid the main protagonist. And I'm so glad they did. That is my favorite part of this movie, is just how well this kid acted. I mean, he's probably put on one of the best child actor performances I can honestly say I've ever seen. You feel the emotion when he's with each parent, when he meets these other characters in the story, how he interacts with them and what his quest is, and nothing's going to stop him from, doing what he feels is right. And his moral compass, and how it is innocently centered within what he does within this crazy world. Speaking of the crazy world, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this film that makes it feel like this gritty dreamscape. And I know a lot of it has got to do with the way Danny Boyle makes his films. Jodie Comer is going to get glossed over in this film a lot because Aaron Taylor Johnson does do a good job in it, and he's so coherent in his stuff, and she's so incoherent in a lot of the movie for a reason that I don't want spoiled. But she does such an amazing job of everything seeming disembodied and lucid, and then conscious, and then fever dreamy and dream state, and the cutting of the film helps that. It also sets the tone, not just for that character, but for the world there are parts in this film where everything turns blood red and it looks like the cover of one of the original 28 movies, like days later or weeks later. It kind of feels disjointed and out of place for a second, but then you realize it's the vessel for us to learn what's happened to these rage zombies. But the way all of this surrealist film work goes in, the shaky cam, the red scenes, the splicing in what looks like an old, I don't know, a medieval movie that I've never seen. It might have been filmed for this, or just archival footage that was spliced into this to kind of show it. Really, to me, all it addressed that this little island civilization that this kid is being brought up in is kind of as crazy as what's going on with the savage of these zombies that are evolving. And they do call them zombies in the film at one point, so I don't feel bad calling them zombies instead of infected. But the parallels between these two civilizations, one lack thereof, and I think that the filmmaking tries to weave that together without just beating you over the head with exposition. I guess the easiest way to put this is that the zombies in this film are going to do some things that you didn't expect. Let me know what you think of the evolution of these zombies and or infected, whatever you want to call them, and how they go, because I thought it was fucking cool as shit. They do hint on like what was talked about in the first film, that England is isolated from the rest of the world in this. And we meet a character, this Swedish soldier, and he's kind of a much needed source of levity in the film. And he he brings up some things like holding up a smartphone and things like that. And Spike's like, "What is this? Is it like a radio?" And he's like, "It's like a radio and a camera." You know, basically trying to describe a smartphone to someone who's never seen one, somebody that's been born into this world but never knew the outside world, you know, for much more than what was lying around at the death of their island 28 years ago. But yeah, I don't want to spoil too much with the soldier, but he's a really cool addition to the cast. And I think a lot of people are going to really dig him. There's always something on the menu with Ray Fiennes. Dude, I just saw Conclave not that long ago. I love the Menu movie, but I really think this is one of my favorite Ray Fiennes characters. You can tell they got this guy set up to be a pillar of what's maybe going to be going forward as far as events in the future of this series. But again, just as he pertains to the quest of this kid in this movie and how he's originally first kind of hinted at as a character in this movie by the father, be it of information or lack of information, is really good. And then it's an amazing payoff. Crazy fucking dude again in this, but in the most grounded way. Kind of like I feel like if the character from the Menu that he played was in the 28 years franchise in the Apocalypse, that I could draw a line between I could see how he got here. It would make sense. He helps the kid on his journey. This is, again, a coming-of-age story in the most wonderful way. The rite of passage, you know, kind of like frontier-style story, only done in the micro ZA of this part of the world. That brings me to why I'm wearing my SIRENICIDE shirt. So, quick little plug. I created a horror podcast before you skip too far if this is relevant to the movie. There's a part in my series where I talk about these giant bone towers. And if you've seen the poster to this film, or you've seen any of the marketing material, there's these big ass skulls piled up with like sticks sticking out of them. And I won't say if it's civilization doing that, or if it's the evolution of the Rage guys or something else that's put these together, but it was enough to make me go, oh my God, there's a small version of what I see these skyscraper size ones in my series. So I thought that was really cool. So I'm a little biased. When I first saw the poster, I was like, oh, I've seen that in here. Really cool to see it come to life. I mean, again, they're a lot smaller scale in this than what I painted in my audio drama. And if you're ever curious about that, I believe I put links to that in these videos. I'm so bad at promoting this stuff. But yeah, if not, I'll make sure there's one in this. So the visuals, great visuals all the way around. I know people were saying some of this is shot on an iPhone, or all of it is, but there was like this super rig and the iPhones are really just like capturing what's going on, but there's lenses and all that. I don't know if that's what was used for some of these like slow-mo arrow shots that happen, but the action scenes are great. I mean, everything that you could want for this to be a popcorn movie is there. You don't have to see the first two movies at all. In fact, me and my daughter watched both of the first ones leading up to this, and I think that they're not even needed. But yeah, I mean, as a standalone and the beginning of a new franchise, or a reboot to a franchise, or a threequel, or a sequel trilogy, or whatever the hell they're wanting to do with this, I'm up for it. I am ready for the next one. I'm a little bit more excited about this film than I have been most of the films that I've seen this summer. And that's because I totally think this is an A-. Like, my first non-B movie. I was on the fence of B+ and A-, but there's just so many things that just the kid does in this film that the more I thought about it last night, and as I was kind of sleeping on it before I filmed this review, I was just like, dude, I would not mind rewatching this film again. And when a movie gets me that excited that I want to go see it again, then to me it's an A-tier movie. I think there's some weird dream state, like craziness going on that was put in there as artistic choice to kind of bridge these two major things that are going on, like with the rage zombies versus this little island civilization that kind of is there and then it's kind of gone. But when that dream state centers around a character and their point of view, whether it's the boy, the mother, it's awesome. I can't imagine the film without it. It really just paints this delirium to the situation, death chaos to what's going on. So yeah, to sum it up, white knuckle action, super intense scenes. They're going to keep you on the edge of your seat. Amazing popcorn movie. Great acting all the way around. Beautiful visuals. Some craziness with the splicing of footage. 11-7 boots on the ground again. It's cool because it gives this audio cue to the movie, kind of like the Muse song did to the second one and the punk song in the first one. But it's whatever. Capsulated story again with tendrils that reach out for some sequel movies on the horizon. Totally go see this. See it on the biggest screen you can. I think it's worth it. All right, so let's turn this title. Let's see, what could we call this one? Almost 3 decades later, dream state emergency. I like it. Well, let's do that one. I bet you weren't expecting the ending of this film if you've seen it already. And if you were, there's something seriously wrong with you. I'll leave you with that.